See this guy? He was the Guinness World Record holder for the most number of valid credit cards held in 2016. He held about 1,500 credit cards with 1.7 million line of credit. In 2021, he was knocked off this position by this guy, Manish Dhameja from India. He held 1,638 valid credit cards in his name. In an interview, Dhameja said, "I think my life would be incomplete without credit cards." He's not alone. India has seen a huge boom in credit card usage in the past couple of years. And by the looks of it, it'll keep up this pace in the coming years as well. But why is that a good thing? More importantly, is India set out to lend big in 2023? Credit cards make the world go round. When you get more money, you tend to spend more. A credit card helps you make big purchases of the future in the present. This increases economic activity. It's a virtuous cycle, which is why the concept of credit cards is age-old. Merchants would give farmers seeds on credit and take repayment after the harvest. In fact, the earliest written examples of a credit system can be found in the Code of Hammurabi, inscribed around 5,000 years ago. It established rules for loaning and paying back money and how interest could be charged. Cut to a few thousand years later. Charge cards were introduced in the 1930s. These were metal plates with the customer's details on them. Large merchants would issue it to their regular customers to allow them to record credit payments. This made transactions much simpler and reduced errors in recording transactions. And that's the principal idea behind taking things instantly on credit, isn't it? Convenience. The concept of credit first spread to diner cards and air travel cards in 1950s. Until in 1958, Bank of America introduced the first successful modern credit card, Bank America.
Our card will soon be coming to Southern Ohio as another service of the citizens,
which later changed to our very own Visa. And MasterCharge in 1966, which changed to MasterCard. Credit cards were embraced with open arms, to a point where they were seen as a replacement for cash. India came into the picture in the 1980s. The Central Bank of India launched the first bank credit card in 1980, which was followed by Andhra Bank in the same year. Both were of the Visa brand. As the use of credit cards were picking up pace, the economy was changing shape as well. Credit cards have a lot of pros, but only if used prudently. By the 1990s, the use of credit cards was becoming more and more casual.
It wasn't hard, I just flexed my card. Does you does or does you don't take action.
सब कुछ बिक चुका है, भाग जा।
There was a lack of education on how to use credit cards to your advantage, to build a credit score and how not to hurt it. In addition, there was a lot of irrational lending to customers that were not creditworthy. The effect of all of this was clear after the 2008 financial crisis. By 2008, credit default rates started piling up. The credit card party officially ended when the market suddenly turned bearish in 2008 due to the global crisis and job losses started piling up. The percentage of non-performing assets, or NPAs, in the credit card portfolio of the Indian banking industry has almost tripled, from 5 to 8% in fiscal 2008 to 15 to 20% in 2009. In response, the number of credit cards issued dropped from a high of about 27.5 million in 2007 to 8 to around 17.6 million in 2011 to 12. Banks stopped issuing new cards, dropped their credit limit, and became more cautious with their offerings. This includes the likes of ICICI, HDFC Bank, SBI, Standard Chartered Bank, and many more. Despite all these hiccups, Indians' affinity for credit cards and credit transactions has grown year on year, with a minor dip because of COVID-19. This is great for the country and its GDP. There's a positive relationship between credit card usage and economic development, GDP. As you can see from this graph, The total credit and the total GDP tend to rise and fall in the same direction. Almost 70% of the GDP is made of consumption expenditure. This is when you buy and use goods and services in the economy. With credit cards in the picture, consumption rises, and therefore the GDP. Cut to the economy slowly recovering through the pandemic because of various policies. Credit card usage was on the rise again. So much so that commercial banks may have to raise deposit rates more to meet a surge in credit demand. While banks have swiftly transmitted increases to lending rates, deposit rates have been laggards for most. Other positive indicators include credit growth is soaring at its highest level in over a decade. It's growing at over 15% year on year. Consumer confidence is higher regarding employment prospects and the economy. Also, people's outlook on discretionary spendings, things like cars and TVs, has moved into the positive zone for the first time since the pandemic began. If people spend more money, companies will have to crank up their capacity to meet that demand. NPAs for the top banks are at the lowest levels since the year 2000. As a response to all of this, the RBI has taken various measures to make credit as easy as possible, like UPI and RuPay credit cards, Pay in 3, merchant cards, Amazon, M&T, etc., Tap and Pay. All these look like signs of a credit boom that India is going to experience in the coming years. If there's anything that the various forms of credit that have existed through the years ascertains, it's that credit is here to stay.